Imagine a world where the very first family, the foundation of all humanity, committed an unspeakable act. Not just a mistake, not just a lapse in judgment, but a deliberate chilling betrayal that echoes through every generation, down to *U**. We've been told a sanitized version, a comforting fable, but the truth about Cain's curse, the bloody secret no one talks about, it's far darker, more brutal, and it begins with a scene of absolute humiliation. What terrifying consequences would ripple from this single cruel laugh? The dust swirled. The scent of burnt offerings, thick and cloying, hung heavy in the air. One brother stood, head bowed, shoulders hunched, his hands clenched, knuckles white. Before him, the other, tall and arrogant, a cruel smirk twisting his lips. He laughed, a deep guttural sound that sliced through the silence, each syllable a fresh cut. He pointed. His gesture, a theatrical sweep, encompassed the younger brother's rejected offering, a pitiful pile of withered fruits and grains, now scattered and trampled. The older brother's eyes, glinting with malicious triumph, locked onto the other's face. He sneered, a venomous whisper, audible only to the one being shamed, a taunt designed to crush not just the spirit, but the very will to exist. The world seemed to hold its breath. If you stay until the end, you will understand how this moment, this ancient humiliation, reveals a terrifying blueprint for human darkness that still plays out today. This wasn't just a sibling rivalry. This was a public execution of dignity, a calculated act of contempt designed to break, and the audience, the silence of the pristine, untouched earth itself, bearing witness to the first seeds of profound, unforgivable hatred. What could possibly provoke such venom in the very dawn of creation? And what terrifying consequences would ripple from this single cruel laugh? To truly grasp the abyss of that moment, we must first understand the height from which humanity fell. Imagine, if you can, a world crafted with such meticulous care, such breathtaking artistry, that it transcended mere beauty. This was not just a planet, it was a living poem, a vibrant tapestry woven from emerald forests that whispered ancient secrets, rivers of liquid light that carved paths through crystalline mountains, and skies that bled hues of amethyst and gold. Every breath was a symphony, every horizon an invitation. This was Eden, a place where scarcity was an alien concept, where abundance flowed like the purest spring water. Animals, once predatory, coexisted in a delicate, almost spiritual peace. There was no hunger, no fear, no decay. Perfection was not an aspiration, it was the default setting, and into this unparalleled masterpiece, two figures were carefully sculpted from the very dust of the earth, breathed into life. Adam, Eve. They were given dominion, not as conquerors, but as custodians. Their mission, to cultivate, to cherish, to simply be in this flawless sanctuary. But what no one understood, what remained an unseen shadow within this blinding light, was the fragile nature of such absolute harmony, how easily it could shatter, and with what devastating finality. A single, almost imperceptible flaw existed, a secret hidden in plain sight. The flaw wasn't in Eden itself, but in the choice. A single, precise boundary set by the architect. From the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat from it you will surely die. Simple, unequivocal, a test of trust in a world built on absolute trust. But then, a flicker in the periphery, a subtle shift in the air, a colder breeze, not a roar but a whisper. It was the serpent, not a beast but a voice like silk, seductive, probing. Did God really say? The question itself was the venom. It wasn't an accusation, it was an invitation to doubt. to question the very foundation of their existence, the very benevolence of their creator. Asterisk, he knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. A promise of elevation, a taste of divine power, a lie so expertly crafted, it felt like truth. The allure of forbidden knowledge, the tantalizing thought of transcending mere creation to become something more. Then, the bite, a single irreversible act. The crisp snap of fruit, the burst of juice, and in that instant, everything changed. The world didn't explode. There was no immediate thunder, only a chill, a sudden profound awareness. Their eyes were opened, but not to godhood, to nakedness, to shame, to the chilling realization that they had traded eternal life for a fleeting moment of self-proclaimed wisdom. The peace of Eden, once absolute, now felt like a fragile glass, splintering into a million pieces, and the sound that followed wasn't the harmony of paradise, but the terrifying echo of an approaching storm. The storm didn't arrive with a crash, but with a voice, a question, resonant, heartbreaking. Where are you? Not a search, but an invitation for confession. But instead of transparency, there was hiding, a desperate scramble for fig leaves, a pathetic attempt to conceal the irreversible. While you watch this consider the ripple effect of a single defiant act. In a few months, this raw truth will reshape everything you thought you knew about consequences. The verdict was swift, unyielding, not a fit of rage, but a solemn declaration of justice. The serpent cursed to crawl, the woman to bear children in agony, subject to her husband, and the man to toil. The ground itself, once a boundless provider, now cursed. Thorns and thistles would sprout, every morsel of bread would be earned by the sweat of his brow. Life, once effortless, became a relentless struggle against a hostile earth. The most chilling consequence, they would return to dust. Mortality, a final, inescapable price. And then, the expulsion. The gates of Eden, once a welcoming embrace, now sealed by a flaming sword and cherubim, forever barring their return. They walked out, not into a new dawn, but into a world transformed, a world of pain, of loss, of relentless labor, a world where death was not a distant concept, but an inevitable shadow. This was humanity's inheritance, and most people will only truly grasp the weight of this when it's far too late. But this wasn't the end of the story. This was only the beginning of a far darker secret. Yet, amidst the thorns and the crushing weight of their new reality, a flicker, a defiant spark against the encroaching darkness. Adam knew Eve, not just as a partner in exile, but as the vessel of a desperate, audacious hope, humanity's last chance. And then, a cry, the first true birth outside Eden's perfection, a sound that pierced the desolation, echoing across the barren plains. In the desolate wake of Eden, a flicker of light, a cry. Eve, shattered but not broken, cradled him. Cain, her firstborn, his name, a defiant whisper against the silence. I have gotten a man from the Lord. A triumph, a miracle. Could this child, born of pain and promise, be the prophesied seed, the one destined to crush the serpent's head, the architect of redemption, a new beginning, a fresh canvas? Hope, fragile but tenacious, bloomed in the wasteland, a desperate defiance against the encroaching darkness. But was this hope a beacon, or merely a prelude to a deeper despair? What secrets unseen were already stirring within this nascent family? The world was harsh, but life persisted, and soon, another cry. Abel, the second son, 2 brothers, 2 breaths, 2 tiny, vulnerable lives against an unforgiving backdrop. Adam and Eve, now parents, saw not just children, but the future itself, a chance to rewrite their tragic past, to cultivate not just the ground, but a legacy, a lineage that might, just might, mend the broken tapestry of existence. But what no one could have predicted, what no parent could ever imagine, was the terrifying truth hidden within this nascent hope. But a shadow, unseen, was already lengthening. A secret, sown not in the lush abundance of Eden, but in the harsh, unforgiving fabric of their new, imperfect world. A seed of discord, planted deep. This was no mere family quarrel. This was a primal wound, a secret that would bleed into generations, a curse passed down, transforming fragile hope into unimaginable horror. It begins with the choices of two boys, two brothers, the first sons of humanity. Their decisions, their jealousies, their fatal flaws would forever haunt the world. How could such innocent beginnings lead to such profound darkness? This isn't just a story, it's a warning, a chilling echo across time. The boys grew, not in Eden's gentle shade, but under the searing sun and the biting wind. Their hands, destined for labor, learned the unforgiving rhythm of the earth. Cain, the elder, gravitated to the soil. His nature, stubborn and unyielding, mirrored the ground he tilled. He was a man of the plow, of sweat and grit, wresting sustenance from a cursed land. His days were a symphony of effort, breaking clods, sowing seeds, battling thorns. It was a life of back-breaking toil, demanding patience he often lacked. He built, he cultivated, he saw the world in terms of harvest and hunger. Abel, younger, found his calling in the whisper of the wind, the bleating of the flock. He was a shepherd. His days unfolded under open skies, guiding his sheep across vast, serene pastures. His spirit, softer, more contemplative, harmonized with the gentle rhythm of his charges. He knew the paths, the quiet streams, the hidden shelters. His life was one of watchful care, of leading and nurturing. While Cain bent to the earth, Abel walked with it, a silent observer of life's delicate balance. But what no one understood was how deeply these diverging paths, these distinct natures, were forging an invisible chasm between them, a chasm that would soon demand a terrifying toll. Each brother, in his own way, sought to honor the God who had exiled their parents. Each prepared to offer the fruits of his labor, a desperate plea for favor in a fallen world. But one would find acceptance, the other only rejection. And here the story gets bizarre, because it wasn't just about the offering, it was about something far darker, hidden in the heart of man, something that would set two brothers on a collision course with destiny, a confrontation that would echo through eternity. The time came, a moment etched in the primal memory of humanity, not just an act of worship, but a desperate audition. Cain, the farmer, brought his offering, not the choicest, not the first fruits, but some asterisk of the harvest. His hands, accustomed to the rough earth, placed stalks of grain, common and unadorned, upon a crude altar. His gaze, not upward in reverence, but sideways, assessing, a flicker of obligation, perhaps, but no raw devotion. He fulfilled a duty, but his heart remained stubbornly rooted to his own toil, his own pride. He expected something, an acknowledgement, a simple transaction for his effort. Then came Abel, the shepherd. His offering was different, not just an asterisk animal, but the asterisk firstborn asterisk of his flock, the asterisk fat portions asterisk, the absolute best, sacrificed without hesitation. His hands, gentle from tending, now held a trembling lamb, its innocent eyes reflecting the flickering flame of the crude altar. Abel's gaze was fixed heavenward, pure devotion etched onto his face. He knelt, not in expectation of reward, but in profound humility, offering everything he had, everything he valued. This wasn't a transaction, it was a surrender. A visceral act of faith from the underdog, the quiet shepherd, who dared to give more than was expected, more than was logical. This was the silent challenge. The brothers awaited judgment. The air crackled, and the universe held its breath. A sudden ethereal light. Not the harsh glare of the setting sun, but a divine luminescence, descended. It enveloped Abel's offering, the firstborn lamb, transforming the smoke from its burning into a pillar of pure white, spiraling directly upward, piercing the darkening sky, a clear sign, an unmistakable acceptance. The silence that followed was deafening, save for the gentle crackle of Abel's fire. Then the contrast. Cain watched. His own offering, the common grain, remained untouched by that celestial glow. The smoke from his altar was thick, dark, clinging to the ground before dissipating into the heavy air, rejected, a physical manifestation of a spiritual dismissal. His face, already set in resentment, began to contort. The flicker of obligation in his eyes ignited into a raging inferno. It was an insult, a public humiliation. Why him? Why not his effort? His sacrifice, however meager, was still his. Remember that initial humiliation, the cruel laugh that started this journey. Now you understand its true weight. Cain's public rejection wasn't just about an offering. It was a devastating blow to his pride, igniting a darkness that had been simmering beneath the surface of humanity since the fall. This moment, often overlooked, is the true origin of a chilling truth. The first family shattered, not by an external force, but by the poison of envy and the brutal sting of perceived injustice. It reveals how easily our own desires can twist into something monstrous, and how the seeds of violence are sown in the fertile ground of our wounded ego. This isn't just an ancient story. It's a mirror to our deepest, most dangerous impulses, the secret that still bleeds into our world today. The story of Cain doesn't end here. The true horror of his curse, and the